Welcome to our channel, The Rational Space. What does it truly mean to live in a society where everyone, regardless of their religion or beliefs, feels equally protected, equally valued, and equally heard? In today's world, where belief systems and governance often overlap, it's important to understand how societies create space for all voices. This is where the idea of secularism comes in. But what is secularism really? And why do so many countries adopt it as a guiding principle, not to diminish faith, but to protect it? In this video, we'll explore the meaning of secularism, its role in public life, and why it serves not just non-religious people, but believers of every faith. Our goal is to explore these ideas with an open mind and a respectful tone. Let's begin. At its core, secularism is a principle of governance. It is the idea that the state should remain neutral in matters of religion, not favoring one faith over another, and not interfering in how individuals choose to believe or practice. It does not mean the rejection of religion, nor does it mean hostility toward it. Rather, it's about fairness, about ensuring that laws, rights, and responsibilities apply equally to all citizens, no matter what they believe. Think of a public park. In that park, people of all walks of life come to relax, exercise, or reflect. One person may be wearing a cross, another a hijab, another a turban, and someone else may choose not to wear any religious symbol at all. A secular system is like the park itself. It belongs to everyone equally. It doesn't ask people to remove their faith, but it ensures that the park doesn't belong to just one group. The term secularism often gets misunderstood. Some imagine it as something that opposes religion, but that's not what it means in most legal and civic traditions. In fact, many people of deep religious belief support secular systems because they provide space for freedom of conscience and protection from coercion. Let's take an example from daily life. Imagine a school classroom in a diverse country. Students come from many different religious backgrounds. If that classroom is governed by secular principles, it means no student is required to adopt another's belief, and no student is excluded or favored because of their own. The space remains open, inclusive, and respectful for all. One term that sometimes comes up in discussions about secularism is laïcité. This is the French model of secularism, and it goes a bit further. It emphasizes strict separation between religion and state, even limiting the display of religious symbols in some public spaces. While this approach is specific to France and shaped by its unique history, it's important to note that not all secular systems follow this model. Many countries have more flexible interpretations, where individuals are free to express their faith openly, while the government itself remains neutral. In contrast, the concept of constitutional neutrality is found in countries like India. The Indian constitution does not reject religion, but commits the state to treat all religions with equal respect. This model recognizes the religious diversity of its population and aims to ensure peaceful coexistence. In this sense, secularism becomes a tool to manage pluralism, a way to harmonize a society made up of many different beliefs. Pluralism is another key idea. It refers to the peaceful coexistence of different cultures, traditions, and faiths within one society. Secular governance helps sustain this pluralism by creating common ground so that no one group dominates others, and everyone's voice has value. It's helpful to remember that secularism is not about individual belief. It's about public fairness. People remain free to practice their religion at home, in their places of worship, and in their communities. What secularism asks is that public institutions, such as courts, schools, and government offices, stay impartial. In doing so, these institutions become trustworthy spaces for all. Let's consider another example, the legal system. In a secular framework, judges make decisions based on law, not religious doctrine. This doesn't mean that religious morality has no influence. Many laws are inspired by shared moral values. But it means that no one is judged by the standards of a faith they do not follow. This protects everyone, those of strong religious belief and those without, from unfair treatment. History also shows us why secular principles can be important. Across different parts of the world, societies have witnessed conflicts when one group's beliefs were imposed on others through law or force. Secular governance helps prevent this by placing all belief systems on equal footing, thereby reducing the chance of religious dominance or discrimination. It's worth noting that many deeply religious individuals have been among the strongest advocates of secularism. Why? Because they recognize that true faith is meaningful only when chosen freely, not imposed by law or pressure. In a secular system, people are not asked to compromise their beliefs, but are instead protected in their right to hold and express them. This brings us to an important point. Secularism protects religious freedom, not by removing religion from society, but by ensuring that every person has the space to follow their path, whether it's based on scripture, tradition, reason, or personal experience. And just as it protects freedom of religion, it also protects freedom from being compelled into one. Let's take a closer look at the workplace. In a secular state, an employer cannot hire or fire someone based on their religious background. This kind of protection isn't about removing faith. It's about ensuring equal opportunity. Whether someone prays 5 times a day or not at all, they are treated with the same dignity and respect. Now, secularism does come with challenges. For instance, how do we draw the line between personal expression and public neutrality? How do we make sure that freedom of religion does not conflict with the rights of others? These are complex questions, and different societies answer them in different ways, depending on their history, demographics, and legal traditions. The important thing is to keep the conversation respectful, open, and thoughtful. No system is perfect, but when secular principles are applied with care, they can help create a society that respects both belief and unbelief, tradition and change. So why does secularism protect everyone? Because it gives each person the right to live with dignity, without fear of being judged, excluded, or silenced because of their beliefs. It sets up rules that apply equally to all, creating a common civic ground where differences are not erased but respected. And in doing so, it allows diverse communities to live side by side in peace. Secularism is not a rejection of the sacred. It is a recognition of the shared, a way for people of many paths to walk together without one path blocking another. In the end, secularism is not about choosing between religion and non-religion. It's about choosing fairness, about building a society where laws serve people, not beliefs, where coexistence isn't just a dream, but a daily reality. Thank you for watching. If this video gave you something to think about, we invite you to explore more topics here on The Rational Space. Let's continue learning, together, with respect, curiosity, and understanding. Let's take a moment to reflect on how this principle, secularism, functions not as a barrier, but as a bridge. When communities are diverse, disagreements are natural. Different beliefs, customs, and values will occasionally come into conflict. The strength of a secular system lies in its ability to mediate these conflicts without choosing sides based on faith. Instead, it appeals to shared civic values like justice, equality, and human dignity. This doesn't mean that religion is excluded from public conversations. Far from it. Religious voices, like all voices, contribute meaningfully to social debates. But in a secular framework, decisions that affect everyone, such as laws, policies, and resource distribution, are made through processes that are open, reasoned, and accessible to all, regardless of background. In this way, secularism becomes a method of governance that supports religious pluralism, not by erasing identity, but by preventing one identity from overpowering others. Consider how this plays out in the celebration of public holidays or the construction of places of worship. In a secular system, the goal isn't to reduce visibility of religious life, but to ensure that public recognition is balanced and inclusive. For example, a country may choose to recognize multiple religious holidays or allow zoning for various types of religious centers. These choices are shaped not by favor, but by fairness. Another key feature of secularism is that it protects minorities, not only religious minorities, but also linguistic, cultural, and ideological ones. When the state does not promote a single worldview, it becomes a safer place for those whose views may differ from the majority. And in that safety, mutual respect can flourish. Let's not forget the role of education. In secular societies, public education is usually designed to be neutral, inclusive, and focused on common knowledge. This doesn't mean that religion is ignored. It may be studied in historical, cultural, or ethical contexts. But no single belief is taught as the right one. This approach allows students to understand the world's rich diversity without feeling pressured to conform. It equips young minds with the ability to think critically, compassionately, and fairly.